and I just appreciate his consistency. I had a discussion yesterday, start off the show, and we were talking to Richmond. I hope he's listening at the moment, because I always appreciate being able to assist a lot of people. I'm not a normal South African, but I think that there's always a way in which we can assist. And I talked to Richmond yesterday, and he told of his challenges with regards to employment and how he was discriminated against. It was quite heart-wrenching. So I talked to Richmond, who is living with albinism, and about destigmatizing albinism. He lost his twin brother to skin cancer because he was exposed to the sun while working as a grass cutter. And he was talking about how he's also experienced discrimination as a person living with albinism at interview job applications. So one of my colleagues would love to talk to you, Richmond. If anyone is able to get a hold of Richmond, please, there's assistance available for him. Someone would like to help him. Please send a message, an email. My email address once again is wasanga@702.co.za. They'd like to assist Richmond with regards to his challenges of finding employment as a person living with albinism.
702. WhatsApp us now on 072 702 1702.
Just coming up, as you can hear, Edward is furiously trying to get ready. We're preparing for his segment, of course. He's an award-winning blogger. If you'd like to search for him, he's at JoziStyle on all platforms. That consistency is quite something. And he's got interesting face makeup, if you may call it. Well, welcome, Edwin, and good morning.
Good morning, Masanga. How are you doing?
I am great. Always excited to talk to you. It is an awkward hour, but you have changed the whole dynamic of late night talk radio. And today, of course, we are focusing on a specific restaurant that is Mexicano.
Yes, La Rosa. It's a franchise restaurant. There are two in Johannesburg, one in Honeydew and then one in the Four Ways area. And they've just opened in Times Square in Pretoria. So we went to the launch tonight, and it was a media evening, and they treated us to a truly authentic taste of Mexico, from wicked margaritas. And because I have to be on air tonight, I wasn't driving. I thought, let me not partake of alcoholic cocktails. So I brought a couple with me, but these are all virgins, so yeah, don't get excited.
Ooh.
But, and I hate this rustle of noise of paper, and I know we can't drink on air, but we have got tequila.
I won't tell if you don't.
And because the guys I apologize to listeners for all the noise in the background, but when I was chatting to the chef, I was saying, I'm coming out to 702, it's late hours, the staff often, and there's nothing wrong with eating knickknacks, but often the staff are reduced to eating knickknacks and drinking a Steri Stumpy, whatever you can find in an engine garage. Please gotta just take something healthy for them. So they've given us...
As I told you, Edward is a digital marketer. You can sense that brand awareness, just making sure that he doesn't bite their hand, that metaphorically people. But one thing I respect about how Edward does the whole influencer thing is his consistency. So he can say no to things that don't resonate with him. But tell me more about La Rosa and how it's different from Mexican restaurants, because franchises, they may want to get the idea right, but obviously it gets diluted. And by the way, I went to Epicure with my partner, which is one of the African restaurants which Edward suggested. It was absolutely phenomenal, amazing. Everything that you said it was and more. You see Chef Coco's personality within the decor, within the food, everything. It's just amazing. But anyway, another review I'm hoping to take advantage of is La Rosa. And Edward is explaining, we've got packages here, we've got liquor, we've got food. Hey man, we could literally survive a natural disaster up in here.
Are we allowed to drink on air?
No.
So I brought glasses. We can't drink from the bottle. Well, what I've brought for you guys is a quinoa bowl.
I love quinoa.
Quinoa bowl. This is a vegan one. We've also got a carne bowl, which comes with strip steak, spicy rice, and black beans. And we have, I can't even say this, it's Mexican, albondigas, which are, these were divine. Lamb meatballs in a braising sauce with salsa verde. And we've got a vegan dish. The chefs went out of their way. Because when I mentioned our producer, Miss Lee Wolf, has gone missing. is vegan. She can't even eat cheese or butter or dairy. And the chef just rolled his eyes and he said, never mind, we will make a plan. So we just going to have to share them. I hope you guys are hungry.
Of course.
I know, I think I might have said this a while ago, but my biggest disappointment with a lot of Mexican restaurants is that I find them bland. For me,
Or generic.
For me, Mexican food should be spicy. You want those fresh aromas of coriander and chili and garlic coming through. You want the richness of cheese and sour cream, and you can't have anything Mexican without having a good guacamole with it. Refried beans, tortilla chips. And I hate to say it, but a lot of Mexican restaurants that I've been to, it literally is like eating out of a tin of baked beans. Very little flavor. What I found with La Rosa, this is the first time I've been to them, I think. What I found with La Rosa, there's enough heat and spice and flavor in their food that you know that you're eating something authentically Mexican.
So your taste buds aren't just napalmed into...
No, no, and I found it very interesting. I don't know how it is that you incorporate chilies into food, but if you just add them and you don't cook them and simmer them, it's like very harsh and burns you at the back of the throat. Chilies, I think you need to cook and simmer down and get the flavors mellowed out. So you get a little bit of warmth, but you don't get that napalm effect. I don't want to go to a restaurant and sweat. To me, food should not be an adventure sport. It should be an experience, but not an adrenaline high where you're perspiring. So there's a lot of flavor at La Rosa. Unfortunately, not excessive heat. So if you want something spicy, they have got extra chilies if you want, I'm sure. Just say so. But everything to me was really great.
And of course, you said that it's the La Rosa in Times Square. Is there anything about the area that is specifically appealing about it being there?
Well, Times Square in itself is quite appealing. You've got gambling, gaming, you've got 101 different, well, not 101, but you've also got some great other restaurants that you can go to. I'm thinking of 40s, which is really exceptional. If you want more, if you want something Indian, they've got the Raj restaurant.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if Guy Fieri's restaurant is still going, but I must admit,
How is the Raj?
I love the Raj. The Raj is very good.
Oh,
In fact, they often call themselves a fine dining Indian destination, which I think is a bit of an overkill.
That's what puts me off.
Yeah. I just think it's really very good, authentic Indian cuisine. So you don't have to oversell. And sometimes I think they overservice people. It's like they serve your food personally, which I think is very nice. But personally, I'd rather just put the food in the middle, sharing platters, let people help themselves. But I find the Raj is faultless. The Raj, Tava are faultless as Indian restaurants. I also like Udika Sujanani's Holy Cow, which is in the Four Ways area as well. But we're getting distracted. We're talking about Mexican food.
Before, actually, because I think I don't want to give too much time or too little time to the other topics. Before we move on, highlights, lowlights, what do we need to know? And any giveaways? We know we always have giveaways.
Oh, we've always got giveaways. Giveaways are coming up now.
Okay, cool.
Well, I just brought you a bottle of tequila.
Not
And
for me!
listeners can smell the aromas through. My car smells like a Mexican
Smells amazing, by the way.
food truck. So you guys are going to have to heat this up and you're going to promise me you're going to finish it. Highlights at La Rosa. I think the cocktails are, even when I ordered virgin cocktails, very tasty, very zesty. Didn't need alcohol to make them pop for me. They're just great. So I'm looking forward to taking a few cocktails, adding some of my own tequila at home. They had frozen margaritas, which are awesome. There's ceviche, which is tuna, which has been cooked in lemon juice, was an absolute winner for me. And their jalapeno croquettes were absolutely divine. I'm not a chili person, but those jalapeno croquettes had just the right amount of heat and creaminess for me to actually enjoy them. So I don't know how many people, and maybe we should ask listeners, how many Johannesburgers would drive out to Times Square to go to a restaurant or to see a show, because I do sometimes find distance, and time. I mean,
price, what are we looking at? Or should we go into that? Is it a bit crude to ask those things? We are in a tough economy. Should we be practical or not?
Talking about prices, I thought their prices were very reasonable.
Not to be specific, just give us an idea, please.
Well, a couple of their starters vary from about 30 Rand going up to about 60 Rand. Some of their mains vary from 100 going up to 200 Rand.
It's not bad.
No, and it depends on what you're ordering. So if you're going to order steak and meat, obviously it's going to be at a premium. If you're going to be ordering shellfish, it'll be more expensive. But if you're looking at the salads and the vegan, well, they don't have vegan options. But if you're looking at the salad options and the lighter options, obviously It's more affordable. But what I also think people can do is go tapas style, order lots of different starters and shares. So, and you're asking about giveaways, so I'll jump ahead.
Please, because that I get. We didn't get the details. Let's progress that. People first.
What details?
About the giveaways. Where do we get them?
Okay, giveaways on JoziStyle.Joburg. It's at Roasting Jack's. Now, Roasting Jack's is a rotisserie chicken in, I've just forgotten where, it's on Rivonia. And their secret is they don't pre-cook their food. Everything is on rotisserie, working on rotation, so it's super succulent on the inside and crispy skin on the outside. I had the misunderstanding it was a glorified version of Nando's, but it's and I like Nando's, I love Nando's, I'm not knocking them. But, and I don't want to do comparisons, but Roasting Jack's is slightly more upscaled. Possibly, it's very hard to compare the price points because the way they bundle and package everything. But their chicken is amazing. If you want something healthier, their chicken salads are awesome. And they got some wicked cocktails. Now, virgin cocktails, the last time I went, they didn't have a liquor license. And the good news is, they've now got a liquor license. Yeah. What we are doing is we're going to invite 5 Jozi stylists to join us to come dine Jozi style at Roasting Jack's. The details are all on my blog. All people have to do is, and it's pinned on top of my Twitter account, all they have to do is retweet to enter. And that is going to be a stunning evening because we're not inviting media, we're just inviting listeners and followers. Dine Jozi Style Roasting Jack's, those are the hashtags, and it's worth 700 Rand per couple. Oh, that is something interesting. I've now got hiccups, and I promise you I haven't been drinking. It is still an affordable dining destination to go to, and if you want to pick up something as a takeaway to take to the office or take home for supper.
I'm almost there. Rotisserie chicken. What makes Roasting Jack different from? When I think of rotisserie chicken, I think of that lovely Woolworths chicken that you have. But you explain rotisserie chicken in a new way of thinking: crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. It sounds like those adverts where you cut a succulent piece of chicken and it just, you see the steam coming out. Oh my gosh! Can you just push me across the finish line when it comes to Roasting Jack's? What is specific about it? There's so many chicken joints you could go to. Why Roasting Jack's? Is it just chicken? Is there diversification? What is it about it?
There is just chicken. Chicken in many different forms. You can have steaks, burgers, you can have quarter, halves, and whole chickens. You pick up a whole roast chicken. I'm not a fan of the Woolworths chicken. I sometimes find by the time it's been wrapped up in plastic and you've gotten it home, the skin has lost its crispiness, and also it's always pink on the inside. So somewhere along the lines, you've got to microwave your chicken. So I'm not a fan of Woolies chicken. Roasting Jack's, I think because everything is done fresh on site, makes all the difference. So, and also it's the flavor. I don't know how to describe the flavor except it is authentic chicken, basted in butter or oil, whatever they based it in. And that, I'm speaking in a correction, but it doesn't come in a variety of flavors. You are ordering chicken, not lemon and herb or peri peri. It is just good, honest, wholesome chicken. Faultless, actually.
Do they have wings?
I'm pretty sure they do have wings.
Sorry, that's the one thing I love. I love wings. And before we move on from Roasting Jack's, any more highlights, lowlights? What should we know of outside of the competition itself? It's worth 700 Rand, and of course you can enter on at JoziStyle on Facebook and Twitter.
We'll just go straight through to the blog, and I'll reshare that all on social media so people have gotten it. Another highlight that I had recently, and it's something I can't even tell you because it's a top secret, it is the SA Olympic chefs are in preparation for the 2020 Chef Olympics. I'm getting that word wrong, I know. It is hosted in Germany, but we are treated to a pop-up restaurant. It's captained by Chef Trevor Boyd, but what they're doing is they're hosting a series of pop-up restaurants that I believe are open to the public, so you need to follow them, and I'll share the links on social media. And what they're doing is they're giving you a taste of their menu when they go and compete at the Culinary Olympics. But now I'm not allowed to tell you what they're serving because obviously...
I didn't know that there were Culinary Olympics.
How
were they chosen? How do you compete how do you enter? Where was the process?
It's actually quite a tricky process. They have a series of eliminations. Obviously they're looking for the best chefs in South Africa. And this is why I like people to support them, is because they don't get paid. Very often they take unpaid leave from their restaurants and their hotels to compete. But it's for the prestige of representing South African at the highest culinary level possible. And then they've also got to go to Erfurt in Germany. So we're working against, well, the exchange rate is against us, competing against the best chefs in the world. And we have performed quite well. Sometimes I think we've received gold. We got bronze 2 years ago. The next Olympics, because they're every 4 years, are coming up in 2020. So all those details, I've got like the previous Olympic details on my blog, so the ideas are still the same. I was actually the brand ambassador for the SA Olympic chef.
Look at you.
So I'm continuing my support, and this is what I'm passionate about.
How can you support them? Because it's just, I mean, I'm a huge sucker for passion, and unfortunately, passion doesn't pay all the time. So we need artists, we need creators, we need these amazing people. How can we support them? The Olympic chefs specifically.
Support the hashtag. Support the chefs who are actually competing. Raise awareness for them, because the more awareness we raise for them, hopefully the more sponsorships that they get. And also I think we've got the Springboks, we've got the Proteas, we've also got the SA Olympic chefs. And if you're a passionate foodie, and I believe we should be supporting everybody who represents South Africa on an international level. And I look at Casta Semenye. She has, I really don't want to get involved in terms of is she a male or female, blah, 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 because everybody's got 101 different excuses. But the emotional resilience this woman has had in the face of adversity is enough to actually warrant the support of South Africans. I mean, there is mental strength behind that woman's brain. It's like,
she's amazing. I can't believe that's the personal attacks on who she is and her identity as a human being, and how she so gracefully overcomes all of that is incredible. I find it quite inspiring. But yeah, we're talking to Edward Chamberlain-Bell. If you've just joined us, we're at the tail end of our discussion, and we're imploring you as South Africans to support our national chefs at the at the National Culinary Competition for the 2020 IKA Culinary Olympics in Stuttgart. And Edward was just giving us, is it in Stuttgart?
Erfurt, Germany. But probably basically the same place.
All right, so yeah, we're imploring you to visit them, and he's sharing their details and their hashtag, etc. You can find their details on his blog, JoziStyle. I think it's so important, if you're a chef and you're interested in it, please go there. I think also if you're a member of an organization that just appreciates culture, good food, and being able to represent South African cuisine, please do check it out. And it is an ambassador for them. And
I'm choking my own words. Was a brand
ambassador, but of course is more part of the institution now. And we're also celebrating what matters with Graham Beck. I've told you, Edward, I want to sip champagne and wear suits and pretend that I'm surviving this life thing as well. But tell us a bit more about this amazing event. What are we celebrating?
Graham Beck hosted, it was a media launch to celebrate the good things in life, and I believe their hashtag was celebrate what matters. And I found what is really interesting is how Graham Beck can produce so many different vintages that are accessible to the public. I mean, they normally retail at about 160 Rand, or at my local shops at about 160 Rand, but I just think it is one of those iconic South African brands. And I know a lot of times we look at French champagne as being
prestige,
the most prestigious champagne in the world. But champagne has actually taken a knock because Prosecco is taking over. People are gravitating towards Prosecco. But what I always tell people is, if you enjoy bubbles, I'm a champagne man, I love bubbles. Support the local brands, the local MCCs. And I'm going to be sharing everything on my blog and the pictures. But what they did because nowadays champagne or MCC, Methode Champenoise, is no longer just a cocktail drink before dinner. You can actually pair your MCC with each course. And what they did is they served 4 courses. They had a duck liver pate, Cajun prawns, which were wicked, and a second course of goat's cheese wrapped in bacon, followed by, which I thought was quite a controversial choice for a luncheon, smoked haddock in a white sauce with pesto. Normally you think of haddock as a breakfast dish, you don't think of it as a fine dining lunch dish. But they pulled it off with such finesse, paired it with the ultimate Graham Beck range, and following with dessert. I probably shouldn't have driven home afterwards, because I had polite sips, but quite a few polite sips. But each course was paired with its own Graham Beck MCC. And then for dessert, they gave us 4 choices. Sorry, they didn't give us a choice. They gave us 4 desserts, each again paired with a signature Graham-Beck MCC that worked with it. And I'll just mention the one dish. This was actually my favorite pairing. It was a lemon posset, which you can also imagine is like a combination of lemon curd and lemon meringue, which is quite astringent and zesty. And you don't always think of pairing that with wines per se, but they paired it with the Graham-Beck Blanc de Blanc. Having the lemon posset on its own was quite sweet, distinctively zesty and lemony, but also quite rich. But when you take a sip of your MCC, it just like literally lifted it up, that it felt as though you were eating a lemon sorbet. And that's what I find. I mean, very often we go to restaurants, we order one bottle fits all. And that's what I find is you need to find restaurants that do food and wine pairings. They're not always expensive or out of your budget, but experience what a difference pairing the right wine to the right food can actually make. And worst case scenario, if you don't go to Graham-Beck food and wine pairing, just go buy yourself some Graham-Beck. But what I have recommended to Graham-Beck, I'm good friends with their marketing manager, Kirsten Statham, is I've suggested these media launches are a great way to introduce the brand to the media, but what you really need to do is host public lunches that the public can pay for and experience it. I know they did something similar with Steenberg, which belongs to the same vineyard. They hosted a garden party, and I think instead of introducing things to media, introduce it to the public.
Makes sense, of course. Yeah, I think it's easier to trust someone who's a friend rather than a marketer to an extent, a salesperson, let me say. And of course, we're just running out of time, and we've got 2 more topics. I'm going to let you choose between this one, between the Wine Whiskey Affair or Maddox Digital Expo.
How much time do we have?
We just have 4 minutes.
We've got 4 minutes. Okay. You can't give me a choice. I'm going to go with both. Wine Whiskey Affair is happening end of this month. I believe it's Thursday the 30th. It is at Hyde Park. It is everything that I love from my blog: Dine JoziStyle, Whiskey JoziStyle, Wine JoziStyle, and Dine JoziStyle. You get to sample over 200 different whiskies and pretty much 200 different kinds of wine. So you're going to want to get a designated driver.
Like
Tickets are quite reasonable, 200 odd rand, less than 300 rand. It includes food, wine, whiskey. They've got special announcements during the course of the evening where they're doing something. They're not even going to tell me what they're doing. You just have to be there when the bell rings. But I think it's excellent value for money. I know there are a couple of other whiskey events happening, but this is the one that I'm cherry picking to support because it includes the best of South African whiskies and wines, and then also food. You get antipasta platters. So definitely worthwhile looking out for.
Sorry, date one more time?
I believe it's the 30th.
Okay, I'll check.
I'm the last person to ask for names there, sometimes and prices. And then also Maddox is coming up. Now that's a digital marketing expo. It is something I always get excited about. It is very affordably priced. If you book online, it's 50 rand. If you leave it until the last minute, tickets jump up to 100 rand at the door. But at either price, it is definitely worthwhile. And it's not on the blog yet, but we will be giving away 10 double tickets worth 200 rand to anybody who follows us on the blog. That will be up shortly. But the most exciting highlight for me at Maddox, I will be one of the speakers.
Oh, look at you.
Look at me. Well, don't look at me, listen to me.
I was about to say what makes it so special. I guess that's our answer.
Well,
there's so many events. What will be so dynamic and different about this digital event?
I think a lot of people are ignorant digitally. We know that there's a lot happening online, but a lot of people don't know how to use their digital marketing platforms effectively. There's a fine line between sharing content versus spamming your followers. And what Maddox does really well is they break it down into all different aspects of the digital marketing arena. And then you can cherry pick which seminars and talks you want to go to. I've been going for the last 2 years, and I am not being false, faking modesty. I am digitally savvy, but I always go because I always learn something new. And this year they've invited me to talk about optimizing your content online. And I find this quite funny because a while ago, a couple of bloggers were stealing content and images off my blog. And because my content was so well optimized, I could actually track that they'd stolen images. And I never told them to take it off. Normally I do, but I just posted a cryptic message that if on Facebook and Twitter, if you've ever stolen my content, I know. And a couple of people would ask me, was it me? And I said, well, have you ever taken anything off my blog? And they'd say no. So I said, why would you ask? But eventually people went on a witch hunt and they found out which bloggers were stealing my content. And somebody was posting on Twitter, I'm not going to mention names because it's kind of tacky.
Yeah, we're just running out of time.
Mentioning she works so hard and people always copy her. And then somebody posted, that's why you always copy JoziStyle. And that's when the fight broke out.
It's always so interesting. We never have enough time, but thank you so much. And right now it is 2 a.m. and time for your latest eyewitness news. I'll be sharing its details after the news.
That was perfect. Thank you.
So sorry, Dave.
No, that was perfect.
Ooh, I'm bringing the meat one.
What I do is get a quick picture of all of us together.
Let's do it now.
Negligible
For a round of time because I
How
know
much time do we have?
the IEC has been unavailable to clarify the issue, but in a statement last night it says the report was used in addition to the set of internal validation already applied by the Commission in determining the freeness and fairness of the election based on the likelihood of multiple.
That's just, I just put.
Says the validation exercise.
Fine, fine.
Do you want me to take the papers away?
Statistics like
No, it's fine.
based on voting intention result data from 1,020 voting